Good evening, race fans. It's a great night, and for you fans, gearheads, and casual scrollers who thought this was going to be a gaming stream, welcome to the Late Lap. It's night 3, and if you're just tuning in for the first time, prepare for yourself to go a little full throttle. Okay, tonight's rant is hotter than a Top Fuel exhaust pipe and aimed squarely at the world of racing brand awareness, or as I like to call it, the lost art of making fans care. From chaotic teams operations to sponsor overload and the decline of the Daytona 500's prestige, we're peeling back the layers of what makes or breaks motorsports. Stick around, because tonight we're diving into what's wrong, what's right, and how to fix it. We've got breaking news from Junior Motorsports, wild updates from the Chili Bowl Nationals, and a story of resilience with NHRA's wildlife relief efforts. Plus, we're taking a lap around Yonkers Raceway and raising a glass to the Kia Stinger GT for proving that underdogs can bite back. So buckle up, folks. Tonight, we're serving up insights, laughs, and maybe even a little controversy. This is the Late Lap, where the green flag is always flying. Let's race. Once again, it is night 3, and as I mentioned at the start here, we've got one thing in mind for tonight's rant. It's brand awareness and racing, or should I say the lack thereof. Let's start with the basics. You know, racing teams should separate and operate rather like businesses. You'd think that when your job involves millions of dollars, complex machinery, and an ungodly amount of people moving in sync like a pit crew version of Cirque du Soleil, you'd think you would run it like a Fortune 500 company, right? Well, most teams run like a lemonade stand after the sugars run out, and it's chaos. And branding? Forget it. Teams aren't businesses. They're glorified hobbyists with a vinyl-wrapped car. Let's talk about sponsors. Back in the day, yes, I'm about to sound like I'm an old-timer, but fans knew who funded their favorite drivers. They'd see that bright yellow Pennzoil car, and suddenly everyone was changing their oil with Pennzoil because they knew who paid the bills for their Sunday thrill. Now, drivers have more sponsors on their fire suits than a NASCAR hauler has compartments. Trying to remember who supports your favorite driver in any of these sports is like playing a corporate-themed game of Where's Waldo. Is he sponsored by soda this week? Or a bank? A brand of power tools I've never heard of? Nobody knows. And that's the problem. But wait, it gets worse. It gets worse. Fans used to care about supporting the businesses that kept their drivers on track. If you guys drove to the Home Depot, if your guy drove for the Home Depot, you didn't set foot in Lowe's unless it was on fire and you were holding a hose. Now, fans don't even blink. They're out there sipping Pepsi while their driver's car is wrapped in Coca-Cola logos. There's no loyalty anymore. Racing used to build brand love. Now, it's just logo overload. And don't even get me started on TV deals. Oh wait, I'm already started. Why is it that the TV deal is the biggest news story in racing? Who cares when we're watching it if the product on the track isn't worth watching? Okay, that one was a little bit of a dig to the Oval Racing League. I'm supposed to get excited that Race Network 347 has exclusive rights? No thanks. If the action on the track doesn't make my heart skip a beat, I'm not sticking around for the broadcast, no matter how shiny the graphic package is. So here's the deal. Racing World, get your house in order. Operate like a business, not a backyard barbecue. Simplify your sponsor game so fans know who's paying the bills, and for the love of all that is holy, let the action on the track matter more than the channel it's broadcast on. Because right now, we're going in circles in more ways than one. The Late Lap is just getting started. We mentioned earlier Junior Motorsports, and they've got a big news here, and this one is big, okay? So it's so big, but it'll make you want to crack open a cold one, or maybe in this case, pour yourself a nice glass of whiskey. Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Junior Motorsports are officially stepping up to the big leagues with an entry in the Daytona 500. Of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. has talked about this for years, and so has Kelly Earnhardt Miller. Apparently, the time was right. And this is no small feat. It's like going from karaoke night to headlining Madison Square Garden. Here's the deal. Junior Motorsports, a name synonymous with the Xfinity Series, is taking a shot at NASCAR's Great American Race. And they're bringing reigning Xfinity Series champion Justin Allgaier to the party, which is already a power move. But wait, there's more. They've teamed up with none other than 10-time Grammy winner Chris Stapleton and his Traveler Whiskey label. That's right, country music meets horsepower. This car is going to be powered by Hendrick Motorsports engines and the smooth notes of Stapleton's baritone. Honestly, I'm shocked that they didn't just strap a guitar to the hood. Now, don't get me wrong, this is exciting. A man named Dale Jr., who's kissed the bricks of Daytona not once, but twice, is finally getting to live his dream of owning a car in the 500. Let's give credit where it's due. Teaming up with Stapleton and Traveler Whiskey is a genius move. I mean, country music, whiskey, NASCAR, that's like peanut butter, jelly, and a whole lot of America. But here's where I have to pump the brakes a little. The Daytona 500 isn't quite what it used to be. Sure, it's still the race, but the same value? It's starting to feel a little diluted. Like, instead of being a tight bottle of single malt, it's more of a generic whiskey and Coke. Don't get me wrong, there are plenty of talented drivers in this race, but the prestige, the wow factor, it's been slipping. And no amount of Stapleton Smooth Whiskey can mask that. To think that just days ago we had Mike Wallace in, and now we have Justin Allgaier. For me, I think it's a little odd, a little hinky. I mean, think about it. The Daytona 500 used to be where legends were made, where names like Petty, Pearson, and yes, Earnhardt were stitched into the history books. Now, it's starting to feel like everyone with a helmet and a dream gets a shot. We've got guys qualifying on speed, on time, and sometimes I think they're just letting people in because they brought snacks to the garage. That said, I'm genuinely excited for the team that Allgaier will get to be a part of. And he's a real class act, a proven champion, and a guy who knows his way around the track. Junior Motorsports has been dominant in Xfinity for years, and you know that they're coming to Daytona to not just to make numbers, but to prove what they can do. This is a high pressure situation. Sure, but if there's one thing we know about Dale Jr., it's that he knows how to rise to the occasion. Plus, Chris Stapleton designed the car. If it's half as good as his music, it might just win a little bit of style points. Congratulations to Dale Jr., Kelly Earnhardt Miller, Justin Allgaier, and yes, even you, Chris Stapleton. Congratulations on making whiskey in hand, cheering for you to make it happen. And hey, Daytona 500, maybe you could take a few notes from those guys. Let's make the Great American Race great again. Here's my cheers. And let's see here. Dave W. Whoa, it's still the Daytona 500. Listen, we've got other things to talk about, and we're going to switch gears right now to a world that you are in love with, my friend. That is the straight line action that is 1,000 foot, going upwards of 345 miles an hour. You know, just a year ago, we would have said that was upwards of 340. But there was a driver by the name of Austin Prock who now holds the national speed record. And it was really, really cool. So we'll talk about some straight line, and we'll talk about the NHRA. This one came out this morning. It was the Denso Products and Services have announced that they'll continue as the title sponsor of the NHRA Sonoma Nationals at Sonoma Raceway. The partnership between Denso and one of the most picturesque tracks in motorsports is sticking around for another lap. It's like the perfect marriage of horsepower and technology, and honestly, who doesn't love a good story? Now, for those of you who might not be familiar, Sonoma Raceway is one of the crown jewels of the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series. Notice how I got that a little bit wrong, but there's a reason. When you go to Sonoma, beautiful scenery, lots of camping, and a beautiful atmosphere to really spend your time out in the world. But it is in California, and they eat a whole lot of Mission tortilla chips out there too. Nestled in California, wine country, of course. This track is the perfect blend of natural beauty and raw power. You can literally sip a Chardonnay while watching nitro-powered funny cars thunder down the strip. Where else can you get that kind of contrast? Denso, a global leader in automotive technology, has been the title sponsor of this event since 2016, and their commitment to the sport just keeps growing. According to NHRA, Denso will also remain a marketing partner across the entire NHRA series, supporting the Pro Stock category and continuing to be a key player in drag racing's growth. In short, they're not just in it for the long haul. They're in it for the full pass down the quarter mile. And don't forget, the NHRA Sonoma Nationals have delivered some of the most memorable moments in drag racing history. From record-breaking runs to dramatic final rounds, this race is always a highlight on the calendar. With Denzo's continued support, we can only expect even bigger and better things in the future. So to Denzo, Sonoma Raceway, and the NHRA, well done. Well done on keeping this partnership alive and thriving. Here's to many, many more years of fast cars, loud engines, and unforgettable races in the heart of wine country. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I need to book a trip to Sonoma for this year's event. Wine and drag racing. Sign me up. And of course, a more serious topic, still out of the NHRA. Ladies and gentlemen, members of the NHRA community, I hope that you're proud of the sport that you love so much because times are tough out west. And of course, NHRA was built in Southern California. Many teams that you and I love are built and established in Southern California. And we all know what's going on out there. Southern California, a region that has served as the longtime backyard of the National Hot Rod Association, now faces an unprecedented challenge. Devastating wildfires have swept through the area, leaving destruction in their wake and displacing countless families. The NHRA recognized the severity of this tragedy this morning and they stood in solidarity with the affected communities during this time. In response to the tragedy, NHRA has joined forces with the American Red Cross, creating a dedicated platform to accept donations aimed at supporting these impacted by the wildfires. This partnership reflects NHRA's deep commitment to giving back to the communities that have been an integral part of the history and success. NHRA's actions demonstrate the organization's ability to extend its mission beyond the racetrack. The sport of drag racing is built on values like perseverance, teamwork, and resilience. Values that are now being applied to help rebuild lives and restore hope for the people of California. Through this initiative, NHRA invites every fan, participant, and partner to contribute to the relief efforts. By visiting their website, nhra.com, supporters have an opportunity to play a vital role in providing aid to those who have lost so much. Every donation, large or small, becomes a symbol of solidarity and a step toward recovery for families in need. This collaborative effort between the NHRA and the American Red Cross reinforces the importance of community, showing that the strength of the sports family extends far beyond competition. As flames have engulfed homes and livelihoods, NHRA has taken a stand to ensure that hopes may only rise in their place. The NHRA extends its heartfelt gratitude to everyone who has already contributed and encourages continued participation in this critical campaign. Together, the racing community can demonstrate the same determination seen on the track, ensuring that the people of California feel the support and compassion of a nation rallying behind them. In times of hardship, NHRA's actions remind us all that the spirit of racing goes beyond speed. It's all about resilience, unity, and the drive to make a difference. And folks, we have this situation in California, but we can't forget about those that were devastated and murdered by, natural disaster and North Carolina and on the East Coast. Of course, we have the fires on the West Coast. And so hopefully when you're watching a race, you get your chance to really sit back and enjoy it just for a little bit. Yonkers, not bonkers. Folks, when we sold this show, we said we were going to cover all types of horsepower. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the perfect literal version of horsepower. It is horse racing, and it is what we call Yonkers. Yonkers, not bonkers, it is Yonkers. And harness racing fans and casual viewers wondering why the horse named Big Trot Energy is trending on your timeline? Tonight we turn our focus to Yonkers Raceway. That's right, Yonkers Raceway, the half-mile track that refuses to quit. And honestly, why would it? They've been trotting since 1899, and they're entering their 126th racing season like a horse fresh out of the paddock, full of energy and a questionable amount of oats. Yonkers Raceway is no stranger to iconic moments. Seabiscuit raced there. Frank Sinatra hung out there. Jimmy Carter probably waved politely at someone. And in 2021, UFC champ Charles Olivier raced against harness Hall of Famer Tim Tetrick in an exhibition that made me wonder, what can't this track do? Yonkers is the Oprah of racetracks. You get a purse, everybody gets a purse. This year, Yonkers is flexing harder than ever with 240 race days, the most in the nation. That's right, while other tracks are binge-watching Netflix on their off days, Yonkers is out here putting in the work. Their horses trot so often they probably dream in slow motion. But it's not just about the volume. Yonkers is dangling a jaw-dropping $50 million in purses this season. $50 million. Let me tell you something, folks. That is larger than most motorsports purses. Most forms of stock car racing, most forms of sports car racing, most do not have a $50 million purse. But Yonkers horse racing, they do. That's enough to make any horse consider a career change, or at least demand a personal masseuse in the stables. MGM Resorts, the track's proud parent company, has also given Yonkers a bit of a glow-up. We're talking LED lighting, a snazzy new tote board, and a paddock so fancy it might start its own Instagram account. Yonkers is practically the Beyoncé of harness racing, renovated, radiant, and running laps around the competition. Now, some of you might be thinking, 126, that isn't that old. Well, Yonkers is proof that age is just a number when you're powered by tradition, adrenaline, and let's face it, a lot of hay. So it is old. In their world, that's a lot. And that is a lot of money. I see Isaac England down there in the chat there, him and Dave hanging out with us. Let us know if you're in the comments. You got to subscribe. You got to like, and you got to share. And believe me, folks, if you're watching right now for the first time, this isn't a horse racing show. It's kind of a gimmick that I share this story, but it is horse racing. And if that's not horsepower, I'll be damned. So that's horsepower at its finest. So here's to another thrilling season. May the trots be fast, the finish is tight, and may we all finally figure out how to be on the trifecta without losing half of our paycheck. Yonkers Raceway, we salute you, you glorious bastard, you half-mile oval fool, you history and horsepower hooker, let's race. And moving on to another form of short track racing is, in fact, the Chili Bowl. And last night at the Chili Bowl Nationals, Landon Brooks gave us a story juicier than a gas station taquito. The California driver didn't just win in the Warren Cat qualifying night A feature, he shattered dreams and defied gravity and became the 54th driver in history to snag a preliminary night victory in this legendary showdown. It's a moment that feels less like racing and more like the climax of a feel-good sports movie. Brooks piloted the number 57W like a man possessed, or at least like someone who realized halfway through that his trophy doubles as a NOS energy drink coupon. Starting 7th, Landon played the yo-yo with the field, dropped back early back in the final stages. He worked his way to the groove, rode the high line, and like a cowboy at a mechanical bull contest, his secret weapon apparently was ripping the top lane harder than your Uncle Bob rips onto the Christmas ham. Let's not overlook Brenham Couch, who Let's not overlook Brenham Couch, who led most of the race before Brooks hit him with some sliders so sweet they could come with a side of ranch dressing. Oh, man. It was lap 28 when Landon grabbed the lead like it owed him money. Crouch tried to respond, leading again for one final time, but Brooks had the last laugh, crossing the finish line with a half a second and spare. That's just enough time to say sorry, Brenham. Now, let's talk about Buddy Kofoid, because this guy has a night straight out of an action movie. After an early incident sent him to the B feature, he clawed his way from 18th to 3rd in the A feature. That's not racing, that's a redemption act, somebody in Hollywood might call it. Of course, it wouldn't be the Chili Bowl without drama. 74 drivers were on hand and a flip count that reached 24. Dave wants to know who writes this show. Well, I always just took credit as being a writer, and I'm proud of it. I hope that I'm making you all enjoy it as much as the fun I'm having behind the mic tonight. 74 drivers on hand and a flip count that reached 24. This wasn't just a race. It was the NASCAR equivalent of a monster truck rally. Everyone walked away okay, but the track crew deserves a medal, or at least a nice nap. And don't even get me started on the history here. The Chili Bowl is practically a sacred event. It's where racing dreams are made, crushed, and occasionally revived thanks to a well-known B-Feature win. If you're not in Tulsa this week, what are you even doing with your life? Before we continue, that makes me wonder, how do you say Tulsa? I say Tulsa. Some people say Tulsa. And Larry the Cable Guy says it backwards. Slut. So here's to Landon Brooks, Matt Wood, and the entire circus that is the Chili Bowl Nationals. If the rest of the week is anything like the last night, we were in for a wild ride. Buckle up. It's only Wednesday. And it is only Wednesday. And so, with Wednesday, you have an option. You can do Way Back Wednesday, and that's when you look back. And I'm going to look a little bit back at a car called the Kia Stinger. You may be familiar with it. It was recently discontinued. And I just want to talk a little bit about what's under the hood.
Hey, I need you. Hey, hey. So
If cars could talk, the Kia Stinger GT would probably say, "Don't underestimate me," and you shouldn't. This is the car that had the audacity to crash the luxury sports sedan party, make itself at a home, and casually offer to take everyone on a thrilling ride. The Stinger GT isn't just a car, it's a mic drop on wheels. Performance that stings, pun intended. Let's start under the hood with a twin-turbo V6 engine pumping out 365 horsepower and a 376 foot-pound of torque. The GT doesn't just move, it charges like a bull that just saw red. 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. That's sports car territory, folks. And yet, it's not just about brute speed. The Stinger offers handling so sharp you could cut your morning toast with it. We have some folks here in the lobby here. I've got some Isaac and some Dave, some Peyton, and Kyle Turner, Mr. TNT. He said he hates that car. I have one of those motors in my backyard. Somebody get old TNT out of here. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just mad that the madhouse that is the 368 horsepower is whipping almost every challenger off the line. Engineered by Albert Berman, yes, the guy who made BMW's M Division legendary, this car has Nürburgring DNA. It's like the Kia was handed the keys to a precision-engineered missile and said, "Go have fun." Dave W. here saying it's still just a Kia at the end of the day, and maybe he's right. That's why it is luxury on a budget, but make it fast. Inside, the Stinger GT makes you wonder if Kia accidentally raided a luxury car company's parts bin. Premium materials? Check. A cockpit-style layout? Check. A 10.25-inch infotainment screen that doesn't feel like an afterthought? Double check. It's everything you'd expect from a German sports sedan, but with a Korean price tag. I think people could say that last line was politically indecent. Sure, it's a Kia, but it's a Kia wearing a designer tuxedo and a pair of sneakers. Kind of like Ryan Seacrest at the finale of American Idol. Because why not be classy and cool? Also, Seacrest, I was doing the hair spike before you. Is it practical? Yes. Kyle Turner says junk. I say nay. The Stinger GT is a liftback, meaning it's got more cargo space than your mama's rear end. Meaning it's got more cargo space than your mama's rear end. Need to haul groceries, luggage, or that giant inflatable flamingo for the pool season, or even for no reason? The Stinger GT says, no problem, I got you, and I've got the back door. It's like a Swiss Army knife, if the Swiss Army knife had Brembo brakes and a Michelin tire. And of course, those gorgeous looks that kill. From its aggressive front grills to its fastback silhouette, the Stinger GT is a head turner. People will stare, but not in the "is that a Kia" kind of way. In the "what kind of spaceship is that" kind of way. Dave says, I get canceled. I don't know. I'm going to keep going. The redesigned LED lights and 19-inch wheels only add to the vibe. It's bold, it's sleek, and it's unapologetically confident. It's like the car's equivalent to wearing sunglasses indoors, and we all know there's a great man that I adore that does that regularly. But jokes aside, it is a masterpiece. Think about it. When was the last time you heard about a rear-wheel drive car that was Korean? You'd have to think about it. Some skeptics might still sneer at the Kia, including tonight's viewers. Larry Turner says, Brembos, damn. The Stinger GT doesn't care about preconceptions. It's too busy winning awards and embarrassing more expensive rivals at the drag strip. It's the car equivalent of the kid who went from being picked last in gym class to being an Olympic sprinter. And that, let's not forget, its retirement tour with the Tribute Edition, a swan song that says, thanks for the memories. Now watch me leave this bitch in style. With exclusive colors, terracotta leather, and wasp icons on the seats, it's like Kia said, let's go out with a bang. Final thoughts, the Kia Stinger GT didn't just enter its sports sedan market, it redefined it. It's fast, it's fun, it's luxurious, and it's practical. It's a car that laughs in the face of its doubters and invites its owners to do the same. So here's to the Stinger GT. We salute you, the underdog that stung its way into our hearts and on our garages. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. And if you buy one, just remember, when people ask what you're driving, you can smugly reply, just a Kia. Then leave them in your rear view mirror. Folks, let's see here in the Turner. Wow, we've got the whole Turner clan here. We've got Kyle TNT, Larry. Kyle's back here. He says, I drove a car. After I put the motor in the thing, it was actually not that fast. I wasn't that impressed. He also said his 92 Dodge Stealth was faster with a twin-turbo V6. I gotta give you credit, Kyle. You know I love you, your family, but I'm just glad that you spelled turbo right. Folks, thank you so much. This is a wonderful, fun event. I love doing this show. And, the late lap, it's growing on me, and I think it's growing on some of you. We're having fun. And I want to say hi to Jason Kincheski out of Australia. And, of course, he's in Southern California. That's Speedmaster Parts. If you don't know about Speedmaster, ask somebody. If they don't know about them, smack somebody, because they are the next hip, cool, and jive thing. And you know what? One time, my young sister told me that I was neither hip nor jive because I use both of those words. We're going to end the show tonight with a common phrasing that I've used for many, many years. I want you to do me one great favor. I want you to be kind to yourself. I want you to be kind to others. Smile, be happy, and until then. And for anyone who's south of the border, sea amable consigo mismo. Sea amable con otros. Sonríe, sea feliz. Hasta entonces. Cuídese. Take care. Good night, everybody.